Most people live as if scarcity is a natural law, as if there isn't enough to go around. Look around you. Observe how people talk, how they act, how they plan their futures. There's a silent pattern that few can identify, the mental habit of poverty that is set in so deeply that many confuse this prison with their own identity. Wattles, a man who studied the laws of prosperity for decades, came to a disturbing conclusion. He said, poverty is not an external condition, but an internal habit that you nurture daily. And this truth changes everything you believe about your current financial situation. Think about this for a moment. What if your financial reality was not the result of external factors, the economy, your education, your social origin, but rather a perfect reflection of your mental habits? Wattles discovered that the mind is like fertile soil. What you sow consciously, but mainly unconsciously, determines what you reap in your material life. What are you growing right now? When you wake up and check your resources, what do you feel first? Gratitude or anxiety, abundance or fear? This is the beginning of the cycle of scarcity or wealth. Poverty doesn't start in your bank account. It starts much earlier, in the way you process each experience of gain or loss, in the way you interpret each opportunity, in the energy you emit when you think about money. A man lived in constant financial worry. Even when he received, his mind was already calculating the next shortage. Even when I had enough, I focused on what might be missing. This man was not just experiencing poverty, he was creating it daily through his internal dialogue. What he didn't realize was that his brain, following an immutable law, materialized exactly what occupied most of his thoughts. Wattles invites us to a revolution of consciousness. What if you could unlearn the scarcity habit? What if you could reprogram your mind to function in a new paradigm? There's a science behind this process. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's law. Just as gravity works whether you believe in it or not, the law of mental manifestation also operates in your life, regardless of your belief. The difference is that you can use this law to your advantage when you understand it. Have you ever noticed how people with the same education, same background, same opportunities end up in completely different financial situations? Some call it luck. Wattles called it science, the science of the mind thriving in a certain way. The first step to breaking the mental habit of poverty is recognizing it. Observe your thoughts about money for an entire day. Count how many times you feel fear, scarcity, or limitation. These are not just passing emotions. They are seeds that you plant in the garden of your future reality. Wattles revolutionized thinking about prosperity by revealing that there's a sacred triad for manifesting abundance: thinking, feeling, and acting in the right way. This sequence is not random. It is the very structure of material creation. The first pillar, thinking the right way, is where it all starts. It's not just superficial positive thinking. It's much deeper. It is a complete orientation of your mental faculty to the truth of the abundance that already exists in the universe. Thinking the right way is creative, not competitive. The common mind thinks, how can I get my share of what is? The prosperous mind thinks, how can I expand what I already have to create more value? This subtle difference completely transforms the field of possibilities around you. Your thoughts are seeds that plant your future reality. Take care of what you sow. This truth permeates all of Wattles' teachings. Each thought is not just a passing reaction. It is a creative instruction to the universe. A woman lived in a constant state of financial anxiety. Every day, when he woke up, his first thought was about the outstanding bills, the accumulated debts, the fear of the future. What she didn't realize was that this mental ritual was programming every cell in her body and every aspect of her life to attract exactly what she feared most. One day, she came across Wattles' teachings and decided to do an experiment. For 30 days straight, she changed just one thing: her first morning thoughts. Instead of focusing on what was missing, he began to visualize with clarity and gratitude the abundance flowing into his life. Without changing anything externally at first, same job, same salary, she completely reoriented her mental compass. What happened was extraordinary. Not instantly, but gradually, opportunities began to emerge. An unexpected promotion, an old client that reappeared, a talent she didn't know she could monetize. The change wasn't in the external world, it was in your ability to see and take advantage of what previously went unnoticed. Thinking in the right way has specific qualities. First, it is focused and clear, not vague or scattered. Second, it's affirmative, focused on what you want, not what you fear. Third, it is consistent, not sporadic or inconsistent. Can you tell the difference between casual thinking and truly creative thinking? Casual thinking is reactive. It responds to circumstances. Creative thinking is generative. It creates new circumstances. What frequency is your mind operating on right now? When you think about money, are you immersed in thoughts of scarcity, comparison, competition, and fear? Or are you vibrating in creation, expansion, value, and abundance? The difference determines your financial result. The most powerful exercise to transform your mental pattern is simple, but rarely practiced with discipline. For the next 7 days, monitor every thought about money, wealth, and resources. Don't judge, just observe. This simple act of conscious observation begins to dissolve ingrained negative patterns. Then gradually begin to replace each thought of limitation with a thought of abundance. There's no need to force it or pretend. Just gently refocus your attention to the greater truth. The universe operates in abundance, not scarcity. Look at nature. It doesn't work by counting resources, but by constantly expanding them. The entire universe operates through frequencies invisible to human eyes. Modern science has confirmed what Wattles intuited more than a century ago. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your physical body, your thoughts, your emotions, everything emits a specific frequency that interacts with the universal field around you. Wattles called this thinking substance the invisible raw material, from which all things are formed. This substance responds to the mental impressions you constantly send, shaping your outer reality to reflect your inner reality. The frequency of abundance is not just a metaphorical concept. It is an energetic reality that you can consciously cultivate. When you tune into feelings of gratitude, fulfillment, and trust, your energy field expands. And in this expanded state, you become magnetic to opportunities, resources, and connections that vibrate at the same frequency. The universe responds not to what you desire, but to what you consistently vibrate. This is the key that many prosperity seekers do not understand. The intense desire for wealth, when mixed with feelings of lack, creates a contradictory vibration that neutralizes your efforts. A man deeply desired to improve his financial condition. He studied, worked hard, made detailed plans. But internally, every effort was accompanied by an underlying fear. The fear that, despite everything, it wouldn't be enough. This fear generated a frequency of anxiety that unconsciously sabotaged every opportunity that came its way. The change came when he learned to monitor and transform his emotional state. He discovered that his feelings were not just reactions to circumstances, they were creative tools that he could use consciously. The practice of advanced gratitude was transformative. Instead of feeling gratitude only for what he already had, he cultivated the feeling of gratitude for what was on the way, as if he had already received it. This simple practice altered your vibrational frequency, and when that happened, situations that previously seemed blocked began to flow with surprising ease. The same people, the same environments, but a new response from the universe, because the frequency it emitted had completely changed. You can raise your vibrational frequency at any time. Through simple but powerful practices, conscious breathing, focusing on the heart region while evoking memories of abundance and gratitude, immediately alters your electromagnetic field. Creative visualization, imagining in sensory detail the life of prosperity you want to experience, programs your subconscious mind to recognize and seize opportunities that align with that vision. The power of music and movement should not be underestimated in this process. Certain melodies and rhythms can instantly raise your emotional frequency. Combine inspiring music with physical movement and positive affirmations, and you'll create a state of coherence between body, mind, and spirit that is incredibly powerful for manifestation. Your vibrational frequency is also profoundly influenced by the people you regularly associate with. Wattles advised seeking the company of those who already vibrate at the frequency of abundance. Prosperity is contagious when you consciously expose yourself to it. Observe carefully when you think about your financial future. What is the predominant sensation in your body? Expansion or contraction? Lightness or weight? Fluidity or blockage? This physical sensation is an accurate indicator of the frequency you are emitting into the universe. And the universe, following the law of resonance, will respond precisely to this frequency. There's a blind spot that makes many prosperity seekers stumble along the way. They understand the power of positive thinking and high feelings, but they forget the final component of the triad, acting in the right way. And so they remain stuck in a limbo of incomplete manifestation. Wattles was emphatic. It's not enough to think. It's not enough to feel. You have to act, but not in any way. You have to act in the right way. What did he mean by that? Acting in the right way is not measured by the amount of effort or hours worked. Many people work tirelessly for decades without truly thriving. Action in the right way is characterized by the quality of presence and intention you bring to each activity. It is not the quantity of work, but the quality of your presence in it that determines your results. This phrase summarizes a profound truth that many ignore. When you act from a state of full presence, connected with your greater purpose and awareness of abundance, 1 hour of your work can generate more results than a week of scattered and anxious effort. A young entrepreneur struggled to make his business grow. He worked 16 hours a day, did everything alone, ran from place to place trying to keep up with all the demands. Despite his Herculean effort, the results were average and he lived in constant exhaustion. What he didn't realize was that he was bringing to his actions an energy of scarcity and fear. That limited his creative potential. The transformation began when he learned to distinguish between busy action and efficient action. He began setting aside an hour every day for what Wattles called creative silence, a state of focused contemplation where he visualized his business thriving and felt gratitude for that prosperity as if it were already real. From this heightened state of mind, he began to receive surprising insights, innovative ideas, creative solutions to old problems, clarity about which activities really generated value and which were just meaningless occupation. By implementing these insights, he discovered he could cut his work hours in half while doubling his results. Action in the right way always includes a component of intuition and inspiration. Wattles taught that there is a universal intelligence that is constantly trying to express itself through you. When you act from thoughts and feelings aligned with abundance, you become a clear channel for this intelligence, and your actions take on an almost magical quality of efficiency and synchronicity. You can apply this principle to any profession or activity. A teacher who enters the classroom in a certain way mental state inspires his students in a way that goes far beyond the transmission of content. A doctor who treats his patients from this state activates healing forces that transcend conventional medicine. A salesperson who approaches customers in this state creates a magnetic connection that goes beyond sales techniques. To cultivate action in the right way, start by observing the quality of your energy before beginning any important activity. Ask yourself, am I operating from scarcity and fear or from abundance and purpose? If you find yourself in the first state, take a few minutes to realign your energy through conscious breathing and visualization. Also learn to recognize the difference between true inspiration and anxious impulsiveness. The first is accompanied by a feeling of expansion and clarity, while the second brings an energy of urgency and contraction. When you consistently act from inspiration, your actions gain transformative power that transcends ordinary effort. The secret is in the unification of mind, heart, and hands. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions are perfectly aligned with the vision of abundance, you activate what Wattles called creative power, the ability to shape universal substance, and manifest your intention into material reality. There is a deep reason why many people remain stuck in cycles of scarcity. Even when they consciously desire prosperity, they are unconscious patterns of self-lack that operate like automatic programs below the radar of consciousness. These patterns were installed in your mind long before you had the discernment to question them. Wattles identified that much of our beliefs about money and abundance are inherited from family, culture, religion, society. And many of these beliefs, when examined in the light of consciousness, reveal themselves to be limiting and contradictory. Your poverty persists because you feed it with your attention. Feed abundance and it will grow. This revelation from Wattles is profoundly liberating because it gives us back power over our financial reality. Scarcity is not your destiny. It's just a mental habit that can be unlearned. Have you ever found yourself thinking, money is hard to make? Or people like me don't get rich? Or even if I have a lot, someone will have less? These are not absolute truths. They are limiting programming that has been absorbed by your subconscious and now directs your decisions and behaviors without you realizing it. The most interesting thing is that many people develop what psychologists call fear of abundance. It seems contradictory, but it is extremely common. It's an unconscious fear that if they truly thrive, they will lose something important, like love, connections, identity, or security. This fear generates an internal conflict where the person consciously seeks prosperity, while unconsciously sabotaging it. A businesswoman struggled to expand her business beyond a certain level. Whenever she approached a new level of success, some inexplicable crisis would arise and set her back. By exploring her subconscious through meditative practices, she discovered an ancient belief: if I am too successful, people will envy me and reject me. This belief had been formed in childhood, when he observed the social isolation of a rich uncle in the family. Understanding this pattern was the first step towards liberation. Wattles taught a powerful technique for reprogramming limiting patterns, combining vivid visualization with anticipatory gratitude. The process works like this. First, identify the specific limiting belief that is sabotaging your prosperity. Then, consciously create a new belief that you want to install in its place. Then, dedicate time daily to visualize yourself living from this new belief, experiencing all the benefits, and feeling deep gratitude as if it were already your current reality. This practice, when done with consistency and emotional intensity, begins to rewrite the neural circuits of your brain. What was once an automatic pattern of scarcity gradually turns into a new automatic pattern of abundance. Another fundamental aspect of breaking the cycle of self-lack is examining its relationship with receiving. Many people have been conditioned to give easily, but feel extreme discomfort when receiving. They observe how you feel when someone offers you a gift, a compliment, or an opportunity. Do you receive fully, with gratitude and openness? Or do you minimize, deflect, dismiss, or feel like you need to reciprocate immediately? Your ability to receive in material life is directly linked to your ability to receive on all levels. It's the same energetic muscle. Practice receiving fully, even in small things, and you will expand your ability to attract and maintain prosperity on a grand scale. The most common mental habits of poverty include constant comparison, excessive identification with the past, the need for control, tunnel vision, and paralyzing perfectionism. Each of these habits can be identified and replaced with its empowering opposite: appreciation of one's unique journey, presence in the now, trust in the flow of life, expanded vision, and imperfect but consistent action. An extraordinary moment happens when you finally free yourself from these mental shackles. It's as if an invisible prison suddenly disappears, and you realize that the bars that kept you confined were never real. They were just projections of your mind. This realization brings a profound sense of freedom and personal power that transcends material circumstances. Are you ready to break the cycle of self-lack that has limited your full expression in the material world? Start today by observing and questioning every thought of limitation that rises in your mind. Ask yourself, is this belief truly mine? Does it serve me? Does it reflect the limitless abundance of the universe? Wattles revealed a transformative principle that many prosperity seekers ignore: the power of expectation as a creative force in reality. What you hope for, with deep emotional conviction, tends inexorably to manifest itself in your experience. Expectation is the most powerful magnet in the universe. Expect greatness and it will come to you. This statement summarizes one of the most practical and applicable aspects of the science of wealth. Your expectation is not just a mental attitude, it is an active force that shapes the quantum field of possibilities around you. Notice how most people live in a constant state of negative expectation. They expect problems, they expect difficulties, they expect things to go wrong. And then, when their fears materialize, they say, "I knew this would happen." What they don't realize is that their own mental focus was the catalyst for this manifestation. The difference between those who prosper and those who remain in want often lies not in external circumstances, but in the quality of their expectation. Those who prosper hope, at the deepest level of being, that abundance is their natural state. This positive expectation works like a powerful magnetic field, rearranging circumstances to match the inner vision. A budding entrepreneur faced a highly competitive and challenging market on the outside. His circumstances were no different from those of many others who had failed in the same industry. The crucial difference was his unwavering expectation of success. It wasn't a naive or fanciful expectation. It was an inner certainty deliberately cultivated through specific daily practices. Every morning, he took time to vividly visualize his business thriving, feeling the satisfaction and gratitude as if it were already reality. During the day, faced with each challenge, he kept asking the guiding question, "How can this work to my advantage?" At night, before going to sleep, he mentally reviewed the positive aspects of the day, reinforcing his expectation of an increasing flow of prosperity. The result was extraordinary. While competitors succumbed to difficulties, he identified unique opportunities, attracted ideal customers, and developed innovative solutions. What outside observers called luck he recognized as the natural manifestation of his consistent, positive expectation. Modern science is beginning to understand what Wattles intuited decades ago. Neuroscience studies demonstrate that our brain is equipped with a filtering system called the reticular activating system, which literally filters reality to show what corresponds to our dominant expectations. When you expect prosperity, your brain rewires itself to identify opportunities that were always present but previously went unnoticed. How to develop the positive expectation muscle. The first step is to recognize that your current expectation is a habit, not an inevitable response to reality. Like any habit, it can be consciously reconfigured through deliberate practice. A powerful exercise is what Wattles called living as if. For 30 consecutive days, guide all your thoughts, feelings, and actions as if the abundance you desire were already your current reality. Not as a pretense, but as a deep exercise in vibrational alignment with the greater truth that already exists on the energetic plane before materializing on the physical plane. When you wake up, ask yourself, how would I act today if I had already achieved my desired prosperity? What decisions would you make? How would you behave? What kind of energy would you bring to your relationships and activities? By aligning your being with this higher truth, you create an energetic bridge through which material manifestation can flow. Another crucial aspect of positive expectation is the ability to maintain your focus on the desired outcome, regardless of temporary evidence to the contrary. The master of expectation understands that external circumstances are always the end result of previous mental causes, never the cause of your current mental state. This is perhaps the most liberating paradigm shift of all, refusing to let external conditions dictate your internal expectation. Instead, use the power of your conscious expectation to transform external conditions. The practice of anticipatory gratitude speeds up this process tremendously. When you feel genuine gratitude for something before you even receive it on the physical plane, you align your vibrational frequency with the essence of what you desire. And as Wattles taught, it is this vibrational resonance that allows for rapid and graceful manifestation. The transformation from a scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality does not happen through a momentary decision. It is a process of neural reprogramming that requires consistent and intentional practice. Wattles recommended a 21-day program to establish new mental habits, creating a clear path for those who want to permanently break the cycle of poverty. This program is not complicated, but it requires commitment. There are 3 crucial moments of the day that, when used correctly, have the power to completely redesign your vibrational pattern in relation to prosperity. The first moment is upon awakening. When your mind is especially receptive to new programming, during the first 15 minutes of your day. Before checking messages or news, dedicate yourself to mental immersion in abundance. Visualize in sensory detail your prosperous life. Feel the anticipated gratitude for that prosperity, and affirm with conviction your natural connection to universal abundance. The second moment is in the middle of the day, what Wattles call the realignment pause, in the midst of everyday activities. Take 5 minutes to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and reconnect with the feeling of prosperity. This brief moment of conscious alignment prevents you from being swept away by the collective energy of scarcity and keeps your vibration high even in challenging environments. The third moment is before bed, when your mind is entering the alpha and theta state, highly receptive to new programming. Mentally review your day looking for evidence of abundance, even small ones. Feel deep gratitude for these manifestations, and surrender to sleep with the positive expectation that creative solutions and new opportunities are being generated while you rest. Every day is a new opportunity to choose between the habit of poverty or the habit of wealth. This simple truth reminds us that prosperity is a daily choice, a moment-to-moment alignment with the frequency of abundance. The quality of your mental immersion is crucial in this process. It is not enough to repeat statements mechanically or visualize in a vague and generic way. Effective immersion, as Wattles taught, involves all the senses and, above all, emotional intensity. When you can feel the reality of your vision so clearly that your body responds as if it were already real with goosebumps, tears of gratitude, or chest expansion, you are practicing immersion at the transformative level. The environment and people around you are determining factors in maintaining your new mindset. Intentionally surround yourself with symbols, images, and sounds that reinforce your vision of prosperity. Seek the company of those who already vibrate at the frequency of abundance, whether in person or through inspiring books, podcasts, and videos. Consciously limit your exposure to environments and relationships that reinforce scarcity mentality. Specific affirmations can accelerate your mental reprogramming when used correctly. Instead of generic affirmations like "I'm prosperous," use formulations like "I'm increasingly aware of the limitless abundance flowing into my life now," or "I recognize and appreciate the countless opportunities for prosperity that appear to me daily." These formulations avoid direct confrontation with deep-rooted limiting beliefs and make room for a gradual expansion of your abundance consciousness. Creative visualization is one of the most powerful tools in this process. To maximize your effectiveness, create a specific mental scene that represents your desired prosperity. It could be you receiving professional recognition, expanding your business, acquiring something meaningful, or simply experiencing peace and financial freedom. Visit this scene regularly, adding sensory details and intensifying the positive emotions associated with it. During this 21-day process, you will inevitably face moments of doubt, setback, or challenge. This is normal and part of the transformation journey. Wattles taught that these moments are not failures, but valuable opportunities to identify and dissolve deeper limiting beliefs that are emerging for release. When doubts or seemingly contrary evidence arise, respond with what Wattles called a persistent affirmation of the greater truth. Acknowledge the momentary experience without resistance, but gently reaffirm your unshakable connection to the universal abundance that is yours by natural right. One man who applied this 21-day program reported an extraordinary transformation. In the early days, he faced intense internal resistance and even challenging external circumstances. But he persisted through the process, treating each obstacle as an opportunity to strengthen his new mindset. Gradually, the resistance lessened, and I began to notice small changes, positive synchronicities, inspiring ideas, serendipitous encounters. At the end of the 21 days, not only had his perspective completely changed, but his external reality was beginning to visibly reflect this change. Opportunities that had always been available, but that he had been unable to perceive through the lens of scarcity, now became evident. His ability to make decisions based on abundance, not fear, opened up entirely new paths. This 21-day program is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new way of being. The daily practice of the abundance mindset eventually becomes your natural state, your automatic way of processing reality. And when that happens, prosperity stops being a constant struggle and becomes the natural flow of your expression in the world. We have reached the end of this transformative journey, but in truth, we are just at the beginning of your true financial liberation. What Wattles revealed more than a century ago remains one of the most profound truths about prosperity. Your poverty is not a condition imposed from outside, but a habit of mind that you can consciously transform. Revisiting our journey, we understand that wealth begins in the mind long before it manifests itself in the bank account. The three pillars, thinking, feeling, and acting in the right way, form the sacred triad of material manifestation. The vibrational frequency you emit determines what the universe reflects back to you. Inspired and present action multiplies results, while reducing effort, unconscious patterns of self-lack can be identified and transmuted. Positive expectation is a powerful magnet that reorganizes reality around you. And consistent daily practice for 21 days can establish permanent new neural circuits. Aligned with abundance, these are not empty theories or fanciful promises. They are universal principles that operate in your life whether you recognize them or not. The difference is in consciously using them to your advantage rather than allowing them to operate by default, often against your best interests. The invitation I leave you now is simple, but profound. Are you willing to take full responsibility for your mindset? In relation to prosperity, are you ready to challenge every limiting belief, every negative expectation, every pattern of scarcity that has been inhabiting your mind? Imagine yourself 30 days from now, having applied the principles we explored. Visualize yourself walking through the world with a new awareness of abundance. See yourself recognizing opportunities that have always been present but previously went unnoticed. Through the lens of scarcity, imagine the feeling of freedom and expansion that comes when you free yourself from the invisible chains of the mental habit of poverty. Right now, at this very moment, you are faced with a choice. You can continue on the familiar path of scarcity mentality, accepting the limitations you have taken for granted. Or you can take the first step on the journey of conscious transformation by committing to 21 days of dedicated practice to reprogram your relationship with prosperity. The commitment I ask of you is this: dedicate the next 21 days to faithfully applying the principles I have shared. When you wake up, set aside 15 minutes for mental immersion in abundance. During the day, take brief breaks to realign. Before bed, review the evidence of prosperity in your life and indulge and rest with positive expectations. Abundance is not your distant destiny. It is your birthright waiting for you to awaken to it. It's not something you need to pursue tirelessly in the outside world. It is a state of consciousness that you cultivate internally, allowing it to manifest naturally in your material experience. The time for your financial transformation is not in the indefinite future. It is not conditioned by ideal external circumstances. It does not depend on the economy, the government, the market, or any factor beyond your control. The time is now. The decision is yours, and the power to accomplish it already exists within you, just waiting to be activated through your conscious choice. You already have everything you need to start this journey. Wisdom is available. The path is clear. The only question left is, will you take the first step?